on if you want. First of all, I want to welcome everybody to the Belleville Area Chamber of Commerce Education Series. This is our first presentation of the year in February here. Hopefully we will be doing them live again very shortly. This presentation, hold on, is also brought to us by the Canton Chamber. We have a partnership with them, the Southern Wayne Regional Chamber, Wayne Chamber of Commerce, Westland, and Plymouth. I think we have representatives from every single one of these chambers. We have over 80 people registered. I know a lot of people were waiting for the recording, so they'll get this later on as well. But thank you very much for all of the other chamber members that have, or the Chamber of Commerces that have promoted this. Remember, it's up to us to bring opportunities and value to our members, and that's one reason why we do that. These are the education series, and our plug at the Belleville Area Chamber of Commerce is that we are open for business. We're an organization that promotes, educates, and networks our area businesses, and this is the one that we do where we're doing education. Again, if this was live, we'd have a networking component involved, but we're not. So today we're here to meet and listen to Pam Smith, and I've got her bio. Again, I lost it on my screen. Pam Smith has a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration and worked 8 years as a certification program manager and director at the Great Lakes Women's Business Council, a regional partner organization for women business enterprises, the National Council, which is WBENC, lots of acronyms today. In 2015, she retired and became the CEO of PTS Consulting, providing documentation review for women, minority, and veteran-owned businesses seeking contracts with corporations that have supplier diversity and inclusion. She has successfully helped to certify over 80 businesses throughout the entire United States. Pam is a certified women business enterprise, WBE, and a minority business enterprise, MBE. She is also a member of the Belleville Area Chamber of Commerce, and we're proud to have her, and a member of the National Association of Women Business Owners. Welcome, Pam. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit of one more thing before we start. First of all, again, make sure you send you can ask questions throughout the presentation during in the chat, and I will interrupt Pam when I get the opportunity. And also, Pam, there's a lot of things that Pam's going to talk about today. So in the chat, if you scroll up to the top of the chat, you'll see Pam's email address. If you email her, and with permission for you to get emailed back, she will send you a PDF copy of this presentation, and then you'll be able to get that. So you don't have to worry about taking a lot of notes. Pam is more than willing to send you this presentation. So pay attention and ask some good questions and listen to the dialogue. And we will later on have this recorded and we'll all get a copy of it. So Pam, I've talked enough. I'm going to put myself on mute. You go right ahead and start your presentations. And thank you again.
Okay, and thank you everyone for being here today. And what I really want to do, you're going to get a lot of information today. So as Mike said, don't worry about taking notes. You can get the presentation. We're going to talk about, in general, certifications, but the one I'm going to focus on the most is for the Women's Business Enterprise National Council. But I'm very versed on the others as well. So that's why if there's other questions, we will talk about that as we get into everything. And I want to give you a little overview about what I understand about the value. There was a business owner that was constantly at different events with one of the Kellogg people. And because she had always seen them and she knew them very well, and she wanted to be able to do business with Kellogg. But what she found out is that she didn't have that certification. And so when Kellogg said, okay, when you get the certification, we'll talk. And it doesn't matter what type of relationship you have with her, it was this still based on you being certified. So just to let you know, that's a value proposition. And as you can see here, there's different types of certifications. And I want to clarify that they're all under minority certifications. So when you hear someone say minority in this particular realm, if you're at corporate functions, they're talking about all of these groups are classified under minority certification. So it has nothing to do with race. It has to do with you being a woman in the minority or you're going to be a veteran, or then you get into the disadvantaged business or the small business enterprise. You want to know what certification is right for your business. Know the difference between the private sector and the public sector. So we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of the Women Business Enterprise certification. Okay. When you're dealing with the private sector, that's when you get into the third parties, which is like the women's business enterprise, the minority business enterprise, the veteran business enterprise. When you're looking at the public sector, you're looking at dealing with the state, the federal, the local. When you're dealing with either one of these, when women approach me or a male approaches me and they ask me about certification, I always want to know, did someone ask you about the certification? Sometimes if it's meant to be in the private sector, you're looking at like your automotive, your retail, like your Macy's, your Targets, your Walmarts. That's what you're looking at. But if you're looking at dealing with the city of Detroit, that's the public sector. That's when you've got to find out what they want for their certification, because they have their own standards, what they are looking for.
Hey, Pam, I'm going to ask the poll question now, see how many people have actually ever been asked. Okay.
Okay.
So, folks, I just sent you a simple poll. In your business dealings, have you ever been asked to be certified? Simple question, yes or no. Oh, that's quick. So about 60% said no, and about 40%, 62 to 38, said no versus yes. And just interesting. I'm just putting that off to the side. Okay, keep going.
Okay. I'm trying to move it and it's not moving, so hold on. Oh, was it because of the poll?
Oh, because I was.
Okay.
Try that again.
Okay, nope, still not moving.
All right. Okay, folks, sorry. Let me just delete that. Try that again now.
Nope, still not moving.
Oh, you went backwards.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go.
Sorry about that. That's what happens when you ask me to do the one thing I'm supposed to do. Sorry, folks.
No, but that's the thing about this new world we're in. When you're doing something digital, you can expect anything.
There you go.
And when you talk about the WBE, which just stands for Women Business Enterprise Certification, we recognize that 39% of the businesses we're part of it. The women groups are part of it, but we still lag our male counterparts. You know, they're still getting the bulk of those contracts out there. Now, corporations are mandated to work with the minority businesses, but they also understand that they should do this because we're part of the economy. When you're purchasing something, when you walk in someplace, don't you want to see someone that looks like you or represents you? So we're part of that economy. So corporations are trying to use products and services that's coming from these minority groups. Again, that's what makes up the economy for the United States, these minority groups, which encompasses everyone that I talked about in the very beginning. Anyone that has any particular, like a woman, if you have a business and you want an opportunity and you're competing with your males, first, you want to make sure that you have the best product or service. Second, you want to stand out from your competitors, know who your competitors are. And the third thing, show you've gone the extra step by becoming certified with an agency.
I'm going to interrupt there real quick. I'm going to, one of the things you said at the beginning, and maybe you can expound a little bit, that it's the added value. Okay. Because when everybody looks at, I've got a widget A and you've got a widget B and they look exactly the same, what type of money is set aside here? Or what type of percentage of this business is actually sourced through these minorities?
That, Mike, I would have to do research because those numbers can change yearly.
Yeah, on average though.
On the average, it would be hard. I would say, I'm trying to think back to my old days. It's hard to say because they break it up into groups.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's one big pie. They break it into, if it's a minority, if it's a woman, if it's a veteran, if it's gay and lesbian, if it's disabled, they break it into groups. That's why I don't have a definitive answer for you.
Okay.
Okay. But the added value, again, like if you've got a product, Mike, you and I have the same exact product. It's made the same way. We've got the same time period. We can get it completed. The quality is the same, but I have a certification and you don't. If the corporations are looking to fill those goals of supply diversity, most likely they're going to pick me. Not saying definitely, because a certification does not guarantee you a ticket to the table. It just helps.
Yeah, that's right. It just gives you the an additional reason for them to do business with you.
Exactly.
So it's a plus. It's 1 point in the plus column. So
And it's a win-win because
yeah.
the corporation is getting a qualified vendor and you're getting a contract.
Okay.
Okay, the criteria for woman-owned business, and this is really the criteria that's going to be for all of those certifications: ownership, management, control, and independence. That's all of them, so that you can understand that. And I don't want to expound upon everything, break it down like this, but I could later in the question and answer if you want to understand what it is. But just remember the key points are ownership, management, control, and independence. That's the key to any of those certifications.
So
And that means for the minority.
on the one quick question on the ownership, I'm reading here, it says majority ownership of 51% or greater by one or more females. So if there's 3 females that all own 33% of the business or 30% of the business, and there's one male, that would be considered whatever, as long as
Yes.
you're 51% with the group. It's not one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. As
Okay.
long as it's over 51%. You know, we don't want to kick you men out or anything like that. It's just as long as it's over 51%, they can still try to get certified. And you know, it's like I said, the key word was try, because you have to have all those other factors in place.
And what's the other one that's most important out of the, and all 4 are important, but what's the other one that's
The
most
next most important part is the control factor. If you are an LLC, you have to have an operating agreement if you have other members. And so therefore, all members cannot be in control. There has to be a controlling member, like a managing member, a managing partner. Everyone else is a member, because your LLC is going to, in that operating agreement, it's going to explain who has the control of the company. If you are a corporation, especially in the state of Michigan, even if you're a sole owner, you must have bylaws. The bylaws also say who is in control of the company. A woman may be, say she's a CEO, but you get into her bylaws and her chairman is Mike. Mike has the control. It's spoken to in the bylaws saying what the position of the chairman is. She is not in control of the company. She could not be certified based on her control. Those are the 2 key factors, really, are ownership and control.
I got a question here. I think this may have, sorry about this, Chriselle. I just saw it on the Q&A. This is from Chriselle Kohler. What about for home health care, meaning they have a home health care aides that go help elderly? Who would need a certified home health care company?
You know what? I know there's people like that in the database. And her as the owner, she could get the company certified, because you got to realize she could work with hospitals.
Okay, hospitals, assisted living people.
Assisted living, seniors care facilities. Yes, she could do things like that. And she's got to realize, we're getting an aging population. So that industry is going to grow.
So, Chriselle, I think the answer is it really depends on who your customer, not who you're providing the service for, but who's paying the bill.
Who's paying the bill?
If an organization is paying the bill for an elderly person, I think I'm answering that properly, right, Pam?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And we just have another, Jennifer Arnett asked a question. Is the bylaws and operating agreement something that is prepared by an attorney?
Yes, it is. And I recommend that people get them prepared by an attorney. Now, yes, they have canned ones. You can go on Google and can them all day long. But if you're going to use canned ones, you've got to really look at it and critique it to make it fit your particular business. Because again, they're sticklers about what it says about who is in control. Those canned bylaws or operating agreements may not state that.
And Jennifer, I'll ask you a question back if you can answer. Because I know a little bit about the bylaws and operating agreements. If you're talking about a sole proprietorship or a one-person LLC or a multiple owners and or large construction or a large corporation, if it's a one-person LLC, you can have those bylaws done at the state with the can. Pam, I think it's because it's real simple. You just have the
Yeah.
canned. There is only one person. There's only one owner, and there's only one
Right.
person in control. So that you do not have to have a. You can spend the $50 and get the LLC thing, and
Correct.
it's pretty
And,
easy.
and the only thing I'd advise, if she does that, if she ever decides to add someone to her company as a member, she needs to revisit that.
Yeah.
And I suggest that about bylaws, because people don't understand what you originally turned in may change when you bring in other owners.
Yeah. Yeah, especially once you're certified with X% of the business, you bring somebody else, you can't just split the business 50-50. So,
Correct.
okay. Good question. All right. Donna Gilkey has just asked, the Veterans Administration, VA, prefers minority owned and pays nursing homes, care providers, et cetera. I actually think she's making a comment for Chriselle. So
Beautiful. Thank you.
thanks, Donna. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, now the process, and this is the same for all the certifications. You've got to gather the necessary documentation, and it's quite a bit of it. And when you're gathering your documentation, make sure you determine who the principal owners are. So if you've got a franchise, you need to see that, because if your franchise has you sending your payments have to go through someone and they send you a check, you're not an owner. You're just a franchisee. And so just keep that in mind. They're looking at your tax returns. You've got K1s or something in there, Schedule C, something's indicating percentages of ownership. So that's helping them to determine that. They're looking at if you have a trust agreement, you would make sure that your attorney understands what all of these agencies are looking for as far as a trust. With WBE, which is what we call the Women Business Enterprise National Council, we call it WBE. They have attorneys that will, each council has attorneys that review that trust. But what you can do ahead of time is make sure that your trust is reviewed by your attorney, because on WBE's website, it has the standards and procedures. It's just a matter of you going on there and making sure that you hand that off to whoever's doing your trust for you. And again, when we talked about the governances, make sure you review them. If you've inherited a company, or you're going into a company and someone passed, your father, your husband, and you got the company from them through that way, you got to look at those governances, because a lot of times it's done in the old way when it was just a male owning that company. So it may not say things in a way that indicates that it's going to be you as the female owning it. So you got to keep that in mind to make sure to look at those things. When you're going online to create the company profile, everything is done online. With WeBank, it's an online application. You're creating your profile. So you want to make sure you create that in the best light, where you're picking the best codes. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about the American and the North American Industrial Codes. You're trying to make sure you're picking what's going to see corporations will see. Because once you're certified, you're in a database where, and that's all these organizations, you're in a database where their corporations are going in and they're pulling up people they want. They use a filter. They're saying, okay, I'm looking for someone that can supply this, and they're putting in keywords. So make sure that you're creating your profile where it's going to have those keywords.
Hey, Pam.
Yes.
Oh, I'm going to interrupt. This is Ayana, I'm going to wait and ask your question in a minute, but Zachary just asked a good question. How would you have all of this information on a startup company? That's a great question, Zach.
Well, see, on a startup company, basically, you're going to have a lot of that information, because first of all, you've got a balance sheet. You may not have a profit and loss, but you got a balance sheet. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't have taxes for that first year of business, you got your personal taxes. Okay. You're sending those in. You got a banker, so you have the information on your bank. You got people you're working with, so those are your references. If you've got personnel, it's not applicable if you don't have personnel. There's some things that you just answered, they're not applicable to you because you don't have it. But as a startup company, I know as an LLC, if you're a sole owner LLC, I know in Michigan, I'm not sure about other states, because so far I've run into other states don't have to have it either. You don't have to have an LLC. But in in Michigan and Indiana, which I cover under Great Lakes Women's Business Council, you have to have just Michigan has to have the bylaws, but not Indiana. So it's like each state, you have to look to see if your state requires those things. And that's what I do. I check to see if those states require it.
You could probably use your business plan too, if you're really truly a startup too, as part of some of your
Correct.
documentation. Okay.
Correct, because some agencies do, like with MMSDC, the Minority Council, they will ask for that.
Okay.
So that is important. The next thing, if you're going to be uploading all these documentations, all the documentation online with your application, and be prepared, especially like with the third, when you're dealing with the private sector, be prepared to pay a certification fee. And it's generally based upon your revenue. Each agency is different. So it's not a one-stop shop. Each agency is different. And so you understand too, each agency does not share data. So if you're going to get certified with one agency, you make sure you keep copies because those same documents will be used for the other certifications.
Okay.
And then you want to make sure that you're prepared to answer any questions that pertain to the application, because sometimes you'll send it in and you think, well, I've got everything in, I don't need to do anything else. But that council reviewing it might decide that there's other things they need to know. So be prepared to answer that.
I'm going to ask a question there. If obviously, if you're helping me become certified and you're doing a lot of this for me, do you go, if the questions, if they're asking a question, are you there to support or?
Yes, I do. With my
Okay.
clients, when the question comes through, because what happens is the certifying party will send a question to the client, and then the client just forwards it over to me, lets me
Okay.
look at it, decipher what they're looking for, and then I will either request more documentation from the client, or I will go directly back with answering that question to the agency with what I know they already have. So once you get done, and the key thing of all of this is everything that I'm mentioning here, my company, PTS Consulting Services, does this. I handle this.
Okay.
When I take over, initially, you're going to get a consultation with me because first I want to know that you really are picking the right certification, where the certification is even right for you at all, because sometimes it's not. And if it's not, I'm going to steer you as to what I think will be best for what your company can do, because I never want to deter anyone from their dream. But that certifications, as I said, you're paying for this yearly because it is a yearly thing.
And that perfect, great segue to two questions back to back. Donna and Denara asked one is this fee one time or is this a one-time process? And the second question from Denara is this a one-time certification or does it need to be renewed? So the one-time certification is the long process, correct?
Correct.
And then
the research the following year is much shorter. They're generally the next year, they're just looking at trying to get your W-2s or 1099s, getting the most recent tax returns. Has there been any changes made in the company? That's what they're doing the following year. So it's that first year, it's like they want your firstborn child because they're asking you for your passport or your birth certificate and driver's license. There's a lot, but that second year is much simpler and you must recertify each year. And the fee is based on still your revenues. So hopefully your revenues will go up, but that means the bad news is you're going to pay more money to get it done.
yeah, but that means you earned it. So there you
That
go.
you've
That's
earned it.
okay. So go ahead.
And so the one thing about that I can't do for you, as far as me taking over the file and becoming the person that handles this for you, I cannot do your site visit. That has to be done by the female owner alone, no males. It could be all the female owners in there with the site visit, but there could be no male. So the male partners, sorry, you have to leave the room. So just to let you understand that.
Um,
And uh-huh.
Question from somebody earlier said, I think it was Ayana.
Okay.
If it's a home-based business, is this site visit physically? I mean, if you're coming into Ayana's home base, is that what you would do for a home-based business?
Yes, and Ayana, I want you to know I'm a home-based business.
Okay.
And so, yes, they come, but because of what's going on now, they've changed things a little bit. More of the site visits are being done by webinar, not webinar, but by Zoom. A lot of them are being done virtual because, they're trying not to go in homes unless necessary. Like if you had a plant, that's when they're probably going to want to try to come in because they need to see. They need you to walk around, explain to them what you're doing, that you understand. You might not work that stamp machine, but it's a stamp machine because it's your business. And anybody that's a woman business owner, that's their baby, and not just women, any business, vets, minorities, that's their baby. They can talk to you about that for hours. And so that's why I said that mandatory site visit, I can't help you. And I would never give you the answers, the questions. If you know your business, I don't need to explain those things to you. Because again, when I take you on as a client, I'm interviewing you just like you're interviewing me. And if I feel that you're not the person that has the knowledge and can control and run that business, I will let you know. We need to stop this because you're paying me, you're paying them. You're going to lose money because I'm going to tell you hands down, they're not going to certify you.
So, I don't want to use this word in the derogatory sense, but it's the only word that can come to my mind. The site visit is to make sure, to ensure that that person is not just a token.
Yes.
Okay.
They don't want that, and they don't want you to be a pass-through because we've seen it where one woman or a vet or minority will come in and say, okay, it's my business. But you go in and they're housed inside their husbands or their boyfriends or a non-minority site, their place. They're not paying them rent. There's no lease. You're using all their equipment. Everything is theirs. Even their people, it's on their payroll, not yours. That's a pass-through.
Okay.
Because you're trying to get the certification as a woman or a vet or a minority, but you really don't do anything with the business at all. You're just the face.
All right. So Ayana just put nodding emphatically. I think she understands. And Zach, I'm going to hold that question off about combat vet till the end. Okay. Hopefully, if I don't ask, remind me. So go ahead. You can, I think.
Next slide.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. We've been talking about WBE again, because that's what I concentrated on today. And WBE is one of the largest certifiers of women-owned businesses in the United States. And about probably in that database right now, there's probably, like I said, over 14,000 certified women business enterprises. And WBE has what they call regional partner organizations, meaning like if you hear the term RPO, that's what that means. WBE has a council for every state in the United, for every state. And so therefore, for the Great Lakes Women's Business Council, which is our council for Michigan and Indiana, we have about 1,400 certified WB women business enterprises. So that tells you it means something. That database is very precious, and corporates pay money for membership to be part of WBE because they want to understand what's in that database. They're looking for viable vendors that could provide them with products and services.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Zach's question because I don't know if we're going to address it. I know we're only talking about women business enterprises today, but he's a combat vet and a disabled vet.
Okay.
So where would he fall? Is that just the veterans, or is there a disadvantage or disabled? Where would he fall under?
You know what? He could fall under the veterans, because there's, at the end of this presentation, I have reference materials for everyone. And especially for Zach, I've got 2 websites in there for 2 veteran organizations. And I'll use that information, go in, look at their websites and make a decision as to which group you want to certify with. But yes, the only requirement, everything that you saw that we require for the women, they require for the vet cert, except you have to have that DD 214. That's the key for you. And he has to be the majority owner of that organization. As the vet. He has to be the majority owner as a vet.
He's already commented in someplace where he owns 51%. And Donna is asking a question. All right, this one is a little bit longer. We have a leased on-demand office space for meetings and conferences. So it's like a third-party office. And they have a manufacturing is done by industrial contract workers, sewers in nearby states. So where would her site visit be taken care of?
Okay, but where does she function for her part of that business?
From her home office.
They come to her home office, and all they want to know is that she's got things there to show what she's doing for her business.
All right, so that would go with anybody that's in if you're in a sales or distribution side, you don't really have to know how the widget is manufactured. You just have to know what the process is to get it to that customer.
Correct. That's just like a woman, if she has a product and she has something that is going into the retail stores that she makes. She's not physically making that in her home. She's probably doing it as a co-pack, where she sends her recipes to someone else and they're distributing it for her, following her basic recipe and what she tells them to do.
Okay.
So it's the same kind of circumstance.
And I got a comment here. It's not a question, but the VA has its own certification process called the SDVOB. Is that something that you help people with, or?
The only ones I've really worked with is considered a third party are
Okay.
the two that's at the end here that I talked about, the National Association of Veterans. And again, I'm going to give that away because I want everyone that's on this webinar today, I want them to have information to work with, something that they can understand, that they can look into these websites for these groups and decide what they want to do. Okay.
No more questions here. Okay.
All right. And here, these are some of the certified women businesses. This is not all inclusive. These are the women that I actually have had an opportunity to interact with, and some of them are my clients that I actually did their certifications for them. And the one of the key ones I want to mention here is A Design Line. She is, as you see behind Mike there, she is a corporate member and sponsor, and she belongs to the Belleville Chamber. And she does, as you can see here, the promotional screening. And she's actually provided products and promotional items to the Belleville Chamber area.
Yeah.
Then I've got, you see on here also, I have, it's Elite Host LLC Hair Care. And if any of you saw that the other day, Paula Tubman did a segue on her last Thursday for the Black female owner as the first hair care, one of the hair care products, not first, but hair care products that's now in Walmart stores nationally. And they announced that last week on that segue. So that's saying a lot about that certification. And it didn't say that that's what got her the certification, but she is certified. Now, that contract, that was all her work. That was all her work. But I'm quite sure that that certification helped her as well, because Walmart is one of the companies that uses that database to select companies that can supply them with products. I know definitely products. So as you can see on here, a lot of these people can do a lot of things. Elite customer service. That person that came on that you were conversing with, that was Colette Douglas. Colette Douglas is also, think about right now, customer service, it's at an all-time low. This is where Colette comes in and she shines. And you want people to always want to do business with you. And if your customer service is poor, this is who you need to talk to. She can really help you with that. And then I've got Accelerate Associates. She does training programs to increase your profitability. And I can tell you, I took her sessions, and she's one of my clients. And I took her sessions as well. And she did a great job helping me understand how to make my business more profitable. So, and then also in here, I've got uh, Antina Productions. This backdrop I have behind me, that's Christina Concord's company. And I had her, I bought this, she created this for me. And they noticed I said she created it. Because when she said, what do you want? I said, I don't know, use your artistic abilities, because I had no idea what I wanted. But she did a great job on this. But you see this array of people, I know all these people. And as you can see, embroidery, pre-construction, Steel Construction. If you go down Michigan Avenue, you can see their company next to Ford Motor up there in Wayne. You got Pure Data Services. And what I love about what she does, Katie does, is electronic recycling. I don't know what to do with all this stuff in my house. I've just got a thing stacked up in the basement with all kind of electronic things. She handles that. Just so many things. And oh God, and I could go on for hours about Sweet Thoughts LLC. Her chocolates are to die for. And she makes wonderful chocolates. I don't mean just the run of the mill stuff. She makes that real fancy stuff.
Christina just said, thanks for the shout out.
Christina's wonderful.
Hey, so I have a question from basically what this shows is that small, medium, and large businesses all need to be certified or all have been certified. I do have a specific question from Manasa.
Okay.
Would a CPA accounting tax prep service benefit from an MBE, WBE certification? I think I'm not going to answer the question for you, but why don't you tell her? Go ahead.
Yes, they would. And the way, if you fit like the category as an MBE, as you see, I'm a person of color. So that's why I'm able to have an MBE, because I fit that minority status. But I'm also a WBE because it's based on gender. Yes, and there's CPAs and there's you definitely could be part of that, because you got to remember, I tell women all the time, and I tell vets and I tell minorities, you always looking at the corporations, but why aren't you looking at the people in that database? Because corporations, small companies like myself, I have a CPA, and I got her because I did her site visit. when I was working at Great Lakes, and I saw what she could do, and I thought, that's for me. So yes, yes, they can always do anything that you see on anything you can imagine, you could have a business from. But first you want to make sure that it's something that people want. Because I will tell people all the time, like that commercial, just then when they say if you build it, they will come, that's not true. Because it's got to be something that people find of value. If they don't find it of value, it's not going to do you any good to try to do that
Yeah, nothing happens until somebody sells something.
until
So,
you sell something. And you want to make sure, just like with me when I started my business, the way it came about is because I worked at Great Lakes. When I got ready to do my second retirement, I saw the need because women needed to understand, don't let that file come in here without crossing all your T's and dotting all your I's. So that's what made me start what I was doing, so I could help them out. And because with the vets, I understood their program because I helped them set it up when they were first starting it. So
okay. I got to do this shout out real quick because it looks like a plant is in the office. No, I'm just joking. It says, thanks so much, Pam. Exclamation points, little heart. You helped me tip the scale. So she was thinking about being certified. So hopefully she'll be contacting you. And
oh,
then just in the
great.
sake of time, we've got about 2 minutes left for the presentation. So why don't
Okay.
we go to the next slides? I think we're almost wrapped up here.
Yeah, we're almost wrapped up. And as you can see from some of the statistics, and what I did is I took retail and I took service. In the service industry, you can see in 2019, Target had a supplier diversity and inclusion spend of approximately 1.9 billion with diverse suppliers throughout North America. And then in the service industry, you had Marriott International had a spend of 5 billion plus with supplier diversity. So you see, it's important to them. And in summary, the woman that I talked about that was trying to reach Kellogg, that was me. I knew Deborah for 8 years. And I said, I'm got a company now, Deborah. And she said, well, good. When you get certified, come see me. And so I understood how important that certification was. So, if there's any more questions, because I know he said that we're running out of time, but you could put those questions, but I just wanted to give you this part. This is one of the resources that everybody can have. So I need you to make sure that you email me, and I will send you this whole presentation, and you will get this information because this is for the Michigan Department of Transportation. That is the certifying body for the state of Michigan. So just remember that. Everything else I've talked about, Great Lakes Women's Business Council, WBE, MBE, those are all third party, the national veterans. And Zachary, as you can see on here, I have the Natural Veterans Business Association. Then I have the National Veterans Business Development Council. Those are the two organizations you're interested in, Zachary.
Hey, Pam, I just want to make sure. Okay, I just put your Pam Smith's email address again in the chat. Copy and paste it, put it in an email. With the new laws on email, we don't like to fool around. We need your permission through an email to send her to send out for Pam to send anything directly to you. We don't want her to get in trouble. So
Yeah.
as much as you guys want to leave your email addresses in the chat, it's technically, we just like to dot the I's and cross the T's with our digital laws. God forbid we, cross over the line and get yelled at. So, but okay. So, and you'll have all of this contact information if you ask Pam for her thing. So I'm going to, whoops, how do I, no, I'm trying to shut that off anyway.
Okay.
Oh, you're the one sharing. That's why you can stop
Yeah,
sharing.
no, I'm sharing that part. So if people want to write down anything, they can.
So it's about 2:15. So we've gone 45 minutes. We've had a lot of questions throughout, which I love. It was a little bit of more of a dialogue. Is there any other, I have a comment from Ayana that we want to read. Diversity plus inclusion will continue, all caps, to be increasing importance in 2021 and beyond. She's working on her certification this week. So, all right.
Great. Congratulations.
Good job, Pam from Al LaCroix. All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, we are, I will personally I can email you directly from the webinar site, and I will send you a link to the recording. So if there's anything that you didn't hear or didn't write down, Leah said, great job. You Rock, Pam. We got a Tammy Brown, got a You Rock, and everybody's saying thank you and good job and excellent. And oh, they're just making you feel all that great, aren't you? Anyway,
Why,
so
thank you.
all right, folks. So you can thanks ahead and keep an eye on our emails. We are going to be offering a lot more educational opportunities. There is an Earth Day presentation that Waste Management is going to be doing in April. We've got an economic summit sponsored by Edward Jones in May. And then we've got a couple of things that are going on over the next several months. So keep an eye on the Belleville Area Chambers newsletter. Also, Canton, thank you very much. And Plymouth and Westland and Wayne out there and Southern Wayne, thanks you guys for promoting, because without all of us supporting our small businesses, that's what we all need to work together. So hopefully we can bring excellent panelists like this to you again in the very, very near future. You're welcome, Stan. So, all right. So thank you, everybody. And if you got any questions, just keep chatting. We'll be here. Otherwise, you can sign off. And I think you can stop sharing, Pam.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I want to continue and I want to, oh no, I can't. Okay. You got to stop sharing.
Okay.
There we go. So.
All right.
All right.
Mike, thanks so much. This was fun.
Yep. It's good. It's good. So, oh, you're welcome, Tammy. So.
And Mike, I just had to tell you, Leah, that's my daughter in Tennessee.
Okay, that's all right. That's okay. Well, we had, I think, 49 people. I think were the top number that signed on, which is pretty good.
Great.
And there's people just signing off right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this was good. There was a lot of good value in there. I think there was a good questions, and yeah, and some of you people were quiet, but that's okay. I'm just watching everybody sign off. So. Hey, Ron. Oh, hey, you're welcome, Ron. Glad you could be part of it. Ron Hendricks is the president and CEO of the Southern Wayne Chamber, one of my mentors. Thank you very much for all you've taught me. And congratulations on that leadership award. You deserve it. And I know in a lot of other group sessions, we usually give yes, you'll get a copy if you ask. Send an email to Pam Smith, Stan. Here's the email again. Send an email directly to her. So.
Thank you so much, Mike.
No problem. People are still signing off. But yeah, usually we give the other chambers a chance to say hi, but I don't know how to do that very well with this new Zoom thing. So I've been using it for years, but there's a lot of things that I don't know. So I'm going to shut the recording off. So thank you very much, whoever was still listening.